This is a big breakthrough in the case, and what we're going to cover is the defense attorneys have incredible opportunity to pull out important evidence. They have submitted their list of discovery. The problem is the massive list that will uncover the big thing in the case is critical to pull out, and they're not. So far, from me understanding the legal case and all the files that have been made public by the court, so far it looks like they're asking for the wrong things, and the critical thing for this court case is not being asked for in discovery by the defense, for the best of my understanding. So this is my third video, and then we'll go through this. What happens here is there's the local trial, and then there's the federal level. And what happens here is all of the valuable data that really needs to be received is up here at the federal level. Now, when you look at what the defense has requested, it's all at the local level. And if you look at their local law enforcement, so that's the problem. And if you look back in 1960s, there's another case in Dallas, Texas. And in that situation, there were multiple people involved with the crime, but they worked very much hard to make it only a single perpetrator in order to cover things up. And what they critically needed to do is to keep it as a local trial, and then they're only subpoenaing and doing discovery against local law enforcement. And it would have been a really big problem if they were able to show it was multiple people. That would immediately elevate it to a federal level. It would elevate it to a conspiracy. And then there's a whole bunch of legal things that would pull in. They would pull the power of this top level. And so we're seeing this repeat where it ends up being, if there were multiple people, then it would elevate to the top level, and there'd be a lot of power brought in that would make a lot of things that are not visible come out to be visible. But when the prosecutor wants to keep it there at the local level, then they're only dealing with local in-state, local law enforcement, and that's a really big problem. So I want defense, in order to pull up the information at the top level, at least, if not elevate it to the federal level and multiple people, and that's not happening, and it could and should happen at the discovery level. This discovery has been submitted by defense, and we're not seeing it there. Now, people were witnesses, and the problem here from the social media posts on the first day or two or three is that word went out from the federal level to law enforcement that were showing up on that day. And this is from the best we understand from the social media posts, that the mandate from the federal level was that local law enforcement could not interview that day the witnesses. So hopefully they were able to do it in later days for a few that they can go find and follow up with. But there were 3,000 people present, and undoubtedly they probably only followed up with a few and not all 3,000. They probably can't find all 3,000. So there was a brick wall there where a real action happened, from our understanding, that would block local law enforcement. So suddenly, all the information they could have collected now is not totally empty, but it's far more empty than it would have been. Now, when the case is locked at the low level, and all the defense is choosing to stay at that low level, then suddenly the information they have to work with is greatly missing. And now, if you look at, we need to easily use this court case and the defense in order to find this white suit level above the orange level. And so that's the part that will be so easy to make happen if the defense attorney and defense team did what other court cases do in very similar situations. But for some reason, this one trial seems to not be doing that. And this is just from my understanding and a lot of research, and I'll show you that seems to be the case here. And we'd love to have attorneys look at this. We'd love to have everybody have their opinions. I'm going to go present a lot of specifics here. So with this, this is where the time is to get this information from that federal level, and it's not happening. The stage is discovery. They went through that in October, and there's that list, and then that's made public, and there's files, and so you can get access to those, and also to publish those. And this is all the files, all this analysis from the files, all the way up to December 12th, which is pretty couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty recent. Now, what they are requesting is this list right here. And from my analysis, my best doing all the work here, this is the list that they're requesting. And the issue is this is all very pedestrian things at that low level, and it's not that much, surprisingly. There's a lot going on in this case, and it's just not being pulled from discovery from the best that I can see. And it leaves it as a lone orange man, and it's not pulling out higher level the men in white jackets. So 2 letters, IS. Now, it's a puzzle here for you to solve. And this is here's another thing. So pull together those 2 and see what those mean, IS. And so here's that. Make sure you understand kind of what that white jacket is about. This is for the social media system. I have to do this. Now, when that set in IS leaves footprints, the thing that we need to be doing in discovery and in the court case is by using the power of the legal system right now, we can and could and should and must pull it out, and it'll bring it out as proof. So anything that the citizen investigators have gotten so far is just from some cell phone camera footage. But if we pull all of this stuff out of the government level, federal level, then suddenly it'll be amazing on how much turns into hard, documented proof from an authoritative source. And it's so easy as long as it's put in discovery, and so far it's just not. And so if you look at my last video, it's worth going back and seeing. There's a list that also should have been discovery, and I covered it in depth there in that last video. This video, number 3, is going to go into these top 2, and then I'll go into the third bullet point. The federal level, they have, when they do so much of the investigation, it all pours into 302 reports. This, that, everything, all nearly a lot, most of it, and almost all of it, turns into 302 reports. Extensive. And I did not see any of that request in discovery. Other court cases do. This one doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then the second one, we'll go into both of these in depth. The second one is that the cell phone data is not pulled. And the FBI, that is where they have almost magic powers, where by pulling in people moving around and their cell phones, even when they're not on a phone call, not doing a text message, their phones are all pinging to cell towers to make sure they're capable of receiving incoming text messages and phone calls. And it leaves a trail of everybody in town, and it's recorded for months and years. That the tools are extensive to go pull it off and be able to map out everybody in town and where they're going, and it's so easy. And they do that in other cases, and they can run circles around anything they want to. And so there's all that data, and the defense is not pulling it, and in other cases they do. Or court cases, defense juries do. So we'll go into this AI attorney, which is partly where I'm getting all this information and all this stuff. So over here, we'll go to the 302 reports, and this stuff is critical, all at the federal level. And then if you look at what defense is requesting, they say witness statements. And that's a tiny, tiny, tiny subset. And it might only go to local law enforcement. So then whatever the federal level hands off to local law enforcement, they might have. But what they might not hand off, who knows? But if you pull from the 302 reports, which they're not, then you can get all that. And in this case, even if the federal level does not want to hand it over, the defense has power, legal power, and it will come over. And so over on the left is a long list. These are the famous cases. It's used all the time by defense attorneys all over the place. And they pull exactly this, been going on for decades and decades and decades and decades. And these are some famous cases right here that have done that exactly that. It's not happening by the defense. I don't understand why. Maybe I'm missing something. So people can let me know, but this is the best of my understanding from the newest documents from December 12th, and someone can inform me if I'm wrong. So there's this is about halfway through the video. We'll go through the rest of the half of the content in a second. It's really important to go do that share button. This video won't go to anybody unless that share button is done. There's reasons for that of what's going on. You have the power to have this be looked at by more people. This will go nowhere unless you use your power to go have it being seen from nobody to a good, decent number of people. So use that power. Otherwise, this information, it goes nowhere. And then this is my third video. I'll be releasing a lot more. This is all about breakthroughs, where I release them when I can find breakthroughs. And this one is just the third one on discovery and this set of stuff information here. They will come out on the YouTube channels. Subscribing on X is best also. And then that reshare is absolutely critical. Otherwise, this will get nowhere. Now, we'll come over and start to dive in that second area, cell phone towers. Now, this is, again, really critical. On the list is, this is what defense does all the time. And the data is incredible. It's really, really powerful for defense to help with what they're doing. And with this case, with the man in orange, what the defense is supposed to be working for the man in orange, if they can go show that other people made a decision and made this happen, that's their best strategy, in my opinion, to get the guy in orange off, because the government had to make it as he was the one that caused death. Because they did not charge him with attempted murder also, then the thing is, if somebody else caused a death, but he was on the roof and even fired but didn't hit, or had a blank, which a lot of people think happened. It was a blank that fired, made a loud sound, but didn't hit the target, and other things did cause that result. So if the defense can go show other parties and that their party did not cause the death, then they would walk scot-free, because they don't have, the prosecution did not put on attempted murder also. And so so I don't know why the defense, if they are trying to really best serve their guy in orange, which I don't like really, but if they're trying to serve him well, why are they not doing this? It seems like a very, very powerful part of the legal process. And other court cases use the same thing here. Now, the entire town has lots of places around town, not just the university, that are really, really valuable. Not just the same day. There's been claims that the footage that shows the guy in orange there at the right time, other investigators have the thesis with reasons that think that was recorded days prior, and there's a lot of reasons to go pull the information. So cell towers, because everybody in town, their phones are talking every minute or so and broadcasting their location down to 10 feet or so. It has everybody in town, where they're at, when they're at, who they're with, where they're going, where they've been. And it's really easy to go find out what they're doing, because when you see who they're with, what they're doing, what they came from, how long it's been there and all that, you can really deduce what they're doing. For the most part. And so there's a lot of places of interest. And when there were rental cars, I didn't even put on here, but when there were rental cars coming from that airport, coming over to the university, coming over to important, really critical places, over to go visit the guy in orange over in the strip mall and other places, his house that it for, this stuff can link IS with the guy in orange, IS with other things that show that IS knew beforehand and was involved in certain big key things that the assistant investigators seem to have mapped out in a light way, but defense can pop this as proof out of the federal level. But for some reason, it's so easy for them to do it. They just put it in a list of requests, and they're not, and other court cases do. And so what I'm about is getting power in your hands, and my hands also, in order to the assistant investigators right now are looking at iPhone video footage, and they're finding quite a bit. But the main thing is there's these massive levers of power, and there's four I'm gonna go bring available to a lot of people. And when you pull these systems, then they can sit there and pull the evidence out from the federal level. That way, it's from sources that are beyond cell phone footage. It's from authoritative sources. It becomes hard proof, chain of custody. Becomes rock solid. And so the first one I'm talking about today is this AI attorney. It'll take me a month or two to get that launched. But I've been using a prototype of it to do all the work in here, and it effectively lights up a team of these AI attorneys that can effectively do weeks and months of work with a big team of them. And it can go through all the legal documents, and you can feed in a lot of questions and analysis, ask it to go find problems. And then it basically has this big team grinding away, doing years worth of attorney's work. And then it comes back and it has it very easily understandable and beelines you to the problem points. And so I've found an amazingly, shockingly long list of stuff. I filled up my first video. That's worth going back and watching. I got enough for this video. I'll be filling up my video next after this, and the one after that, and one after that. So you'll subscribe and you'll come and see all that stuff. But beyond that, that's just the number one. I'll be bringing these other three. They'll be really critical. That'll be even way more powerful. So just subscribe and you'll hear. Now, if we come over to where we go with strength in positivity way above and beyond system investigators looking at cell phone footage, this one guy, Thomas, on the left, is a real hero. He had a thing to face, and to get justice, what he did was he passed a law. And by doing this, he had taken something that from Bill Clinton, 1996 until 2005, that's 19 years, has not been able to be pulled out by anybody in Congress, any president, any FBI, any CIA for 19 years. None of them had the power. But by him doing this and using the construct of law, he was able to go pull out very, very valuable things, to go find out what happened. And this is incredibly powerful and needed. Now, the defense attorney is in a rare one-time opportunity in history where she gets all the same power. And instead of passing a new law, it's legal discovery. And other court cases, so I covered the things that she must have pulled out and she didn't in my first video, from the best of my understanding. And then in this video, I got this set here, and I'll start to go through a whole bunch more in the videos I'll launch soon. And if she did this, it would pull out this evidence from the federal level and turn into hard proof, infinitely beyond the cell phone footage that system investigators are going through now. And it'll document it in pure proof, just like Thomas did. And so now I'm going to go kind of flip through these quickly. These slides right here are great for attorneys. If people want to go super deep investigation, they can. These are other court cases, and they've had to deal with foreign IS white suits, and they've had to deal with cell phone footage or cell phone data, and the combination of the two cases, and other things very much related to what we're facing in Utah from back September. And they are court cases where defense attorneys then are being smart and choosing to do the thing that should be done. They do it, and they pop this evidence out from the federal level, especially when the federal level does not want to provide it. But the law is that power, like Thomas had. The defense attorney has all that power. It's proven for decades. and they've done it in exactly similar situations. And in that case, we can get the proof out, and it's so right here available. And in discovery submitted, then it was just not. Like that whole long list was just not submitted, which doesn't make any sense to me unless I'm missing anything. And the attorneys can always pipe up and tell me if I'm wrong here. Now, and finding all those cases and analyzing them and cross-indexing them was that AI attorney that I wrote. And I'm making open source free. It'll be take me a couple months to get it all raised in quality and all that stuff to get that published. But you can use it, and as the court case progresses, we just drop in the newest files, and it'll come and analyze it from every single way, hunt for the problems, and make them very human readable by non-attorneys, and out that information. And we can all kind of investigate this really easily, way beyond kind of what people have done before just on the cell phone footage. Now, if we don't do this, this is going to just our road in as just a single lone orange man, and we're going to miss all the IS. And so, again, this video will go nowhere unless you use your power to go repost. And also, my videos will be coming out. You'll probably never see them unless you subscribe. And then there's over on YouTube will be important to go do there. And then you can go find the video number 1 and video number 2 there. So when I come over to video number 1, we'll go into that one in a bit. My day job is creating this AI software where you can create videos, and that's a whole interesting thing kind of separately. I won't go to that too much now. But I'm going to use this for the big things that we face with September 2025 in Utah. And so here is, you can go sit there and type in, he said this, she said this. This one right now is in cartoon mode. It has realistic human looking, human, and they do full 3D and full TV shows and movies, and you can create a social media video and a marketing video and just type in, he said this, she said that. And it's so easy compared to anything else in Gen AI video. And then you can go type in San Francisco on the Golden Gate Bridge, and it will take you to the most beautiful sets. And you can say a car crash, and it flipped 3 times on the Golden Gate Bridge, and they're dangling off the side, and it'll do have all that stuff to basically do that. You can just type in a few sentences, and it does all of the video processing. And he said this and said that, and then goes over and grabs a gun and races around. So there's that. And so we'll be using that over to go get important information out on this situation here. Now, back on video number 1, that will go through important stuff. Seeing the video is important. I'll give a quick little thing. It goes into this footage. They did request for the video footage. Now, this plane right here is critical because the timing was right. It centered right around the place and the time, right before the time, and ending right before the time, so they wouldn't catch the event. And this is critical, and I don't know why it was not in Discovery. These drones, military drones and things, not in Discovery. This airport and the planes, and then the people in the house beforehand. It's like the whole video will go through the detail. Now, video number 2, incredibly worthwhile to go watch, and that goes into white suits, and there's really important stuff they're doing across the board, and you have to go see that in the other video. But that is super critical to watch. And then that is very important. And so also kind of doing the reshare buttons on those. So with this, I recommend you get the word out, and do that. Reshare is the best way to go do that. And then you'll see my future videos. And then when I create these other tools that can be helpful, then you can use those to affect real change way beyond what we've been able to do in the past, because you'll have a far more power. Okay. And then I definitely want people to go comment on my post. I very much want to hear your thoughts. Any questions you want to analyze legally, any debates on the legal stuff, I definitely want to hear it. Do anything you can do to help the process. And I very much want to hear from you in replies. If this gets reposted elsewhere, I will follow all the reposts and the resharing of the video, and I will, even months later, I will go find out everybody's posts and replies on that, and go hear what they have to say. Thank you very much.